Hello and welcome. We are so glad that you are here. If you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to get notifications when we have new videos. If you're with us on Zoom, drop a hi in the chat. We'd love to say hello back. If you're with us in person in the sanctuary, hello everyone. And if this is your first time here, go ahead and sign our guest book either in person or at oakcliffeu.org/guest. Today's sermon is I Don't Believe in Monsters with Tanner Trask. All right, first of all, thank you to everyone who came out for our summer solstice celebration this week. Scott, show us some pictures. They are beautiful, aren't they? Thank you to everyone who made it a success, participated in it, or helped make it possible. Thank you to Sarah, who always does such an incredible job at these things. And to everyone, happy summer. All right, we've been waiting for it and it's finally here. Today is the fourth Sunday and you know what that means. That means it is bowling. Very, very fun stuff. Join us today from 2 to 4 at Redbird Lanes. Sign up in advance at this link. You can also find it in the e-blast. I'm sure someone's putting it in the chat as well. You can also talk to Rebecca. Rebecca's got you covered. And also make sure that you pay her and not the lane so that we get a little something out of it. All the info is in the e-blast if you need it. That is 2 to 4 today. It's $20 a person, covers shoe rental and 2 games of bowling with some of your favorite people. We have a great group, so join us. You can be part of that great group. All right, speaking of the e-blast, there is so much in it this week. I don't have a lot of announcements, but they're all in there. The president's message is packed full of stuff. There's a lot of changes happening in our church right now. You know, the board is switching over July 1st. So much stuff. Go and check it out. Read the president's message. It's a good week to do that. We have stuff about adding events to the calendar. If you have an event that you would like to do or promote. We also have notes about if you are on campus, there have been some changes. So please check that out if you plan on being on campus outside of our normal times. We have widening the circle of concern updates and workday Wednesdays. All right, it is Sunday and the fun don't stop after the service. We have lots of stuff for you. So join us for Talkback at 11:15 where we talk about the sermon and related topics. There's always something for you, whether you are there to talk or just listen. We also have adult religious exploration with Sarah at 11:30, always a blast. And today, one day only, you can join Sherry up in the Hope Chapel, and she will be live streaming the General Assembly worship service at 11:15. So you have extra options today. And then bowling. All right, that is it. We have no member anniversaries except what? What is this? Oh my gosh, y'all. We have a new member. This is so exciting. And anybody who has met her, you are going to be thrilled out of your mind. All right. Welcome to the UUCOC family, Sarah Latchison. Not only does she have an amazing, vibrant energy, I was so happy to meet her recently, but she is also heading up our new Healing Justice Ministry. And if you have heard anything about that, it is something to be very excited about. We are so thrilled and so fortunate to have you, Sarah. Welcome to you and to everyone else out there. I hope that you all have a very happy Sunday.
Good morning, everyone. I am Reverend Deneen Robinson, the minister here at UUCOC, and I came to bring you greetings. For me, this place is so full of love and sunshine. I always say that whenever I come on the campus, it feels like I'm getting a great big hug, in part because of the years of work and love that's gone into making this place such a beautiful place to be in, to wander through. And more important, the folks are all full of love here. So I'm saying welcome to the folks who are here visiting with us today. I hope you find a hug in the environment and receive a hug from some of the members here. If you choose, the campus is yours to explore. There is a labyrinth. There is also a small trail where the trees have been bent to invite you to walk through. And also we are currently having meditation in the back charity space. So there are many offerings here, but more importantly, the offering is community and care. And we invite you to join in that experience with us today. For those of you who are joining us via Zoom, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your commitment to joining us as well. I am offering the opportunity for us all to have an amazing experience of the divine, however you see the divine, even as you. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of love, compassion, and forgiveness. And now in Spanish. Que esta luz que ahora encendemos nos inspire a usar nuestros dones y poderes para sanar y no para herir, para ayudar y no para impedir, para bendecir y no para maldecir, para servirte a ti, espíritu de amor, compasión y perdón.
Come into this house of worship by Carolyn S. Owen Toll. Come into this house of worship. Come in, bringing all of who you are. Rest and quiet your weak-worn spirit, for you are here to touch again eternal springs of hope and renewal. Calm your hurried pace. For this hour, let the cares, the fretfulness, and the worry be set aside. Forgive yourself, for you are very worthy of moving on, of making new efforts, of trying again. Know that you are not alone. There is strength and caring support for you here. You will find comfort if you but ask. Look around. You are a part of potential community. You can make it what you will. Enter into this house of worship.
May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well. May I be peaceful and at ease. May I be whole. May you be filled with loving kindness. May you be well. May you be filled
Because we love one another, we honor each individual's spiritual journey. We celebrate life's abundance in service to each other, our community, and the world. We connect with each other in love, respect, and acceptance. Thus do we covenant together.
And now in Spanish. Porque nos amamos uno al otro, honoramos el viaje espiritual de cada individuo, celebramos la abundancia de la vida en el servicio a entre sí, nuestra comunidad y el mundo. Ponemos en contacto a unos con otros en el amor, respeto y acepción, así que hacemos pacto.
It is said that into each life some rain must fall, and I'm sure there are those among us who have felt some of that rain this week. And we share our sorrows and concerns with one another, which can sometimes lighten that burden for us.
When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love.
As a community, we also celebrate together and share our joys.
Spirit of life, come unto me, sing in my heart all the stirs of compassion, blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice, roots hold me close, wings set me free, Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Good morning. So thank you all for welcoming me into your church. I've been in this pulpit a couple of times, but through Zoom, not at the physical one, so this is kind of cool. My name is Tanner Trask. My pronouns are he, him, and his. And my wife and I, Melissa Trask, we became UUs back in 2008 at Westside UU down in Southwest Fort Worth. And yeah, it's been a wild ride since. I'm currently on the worship team over there. My wife just got elected to the board. And back in 2008, we didn't go for the UU church. We went for the Fort Worth Humanist group because we thought it was very funny that a humanist group was meeting in a church.
That was a trick.
So, yeah. Yeah, no, and they invited us to church, and we were like, oh, no, we're not church people. And here I am on the worship team. Here she is on the board. And here I am in the pulpit.
It was a trick.
So thank you all again for having me. And so I do wish this was a better Sunday, though. We've been hearing that our rights are under attack for years now. But just this week, we've had fundamental rights stripped away by an unelected group of 9, 5 of whom were appointed by presidents who lost the popular vote. I am a lot of things right now. I'm sad, I'm angry, if I'm being honest, hopeless. And I think to myself, what kind of a monster would do something like this? But then I have to stop myself. I am a Unitarian Universalist. I am a humanist. I personally am a non-theist. So I can't believe in monsters. I can only believe in humans. Humans were the ones that did this, and it's going to take humans to undo this. So, in that vein, and with our principles posted securely on the wall to my right, your left, I forget which one that stage is. Stage right, stage that way. So, I want to tell you a story. A supervillain by the name of Shocker is robbing a bank. Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. He shows up to stop him, and you have a pretty classic comic book fight. There's plenty of biffs, pows, and thuds, and Spider-Man wins. He webs an unconscious Shocker up and leaves him for the police before going home to Aunt May. Now, this particular version of the story is from a 1967 issue of The Amazing Spider-Man titled The Sinister Shocker, a Stan Lee and John Romita Spiderific Spectacular lettered by Sam Rosen, which is how it's described on the issue's copyright page. Now, this is a pretty common comic book story. The bad guy threatens to do evil. The good guy shows up to stop him and leaves him for the authorities to deal with. The immediate threat is dealt with, but very little changes in the long term. I mean, it isn't Spider-Man's problem what happens to Shocker after their fight. You let the police handle it, which in a democratic society like ours means ultimately we're the ones who have to decide how we want to handle things like this. So how do we want to handle things like this? Our first principle reads, we affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Every person. Not most people, not people like us, not people that we like, every person. So what about Shocker robbing the bank? What does treating him in accordance with his inherent worth and dignity look like? Should Spider-Man just let him do what he wants, rob the bank, harm some innocents? Of course not, right? So how do we oppose someone while recognizing their inherent worth and dignity? So let's talk about a slightly different superhero, the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, Doreen Green, who first appeared in Marvel Superheroes number 8, published in 1991. She possesses the proportionate strength and agility of a squirrel. Now, the squirrel ears are a fashionable headband. The tail is real as a comic book gets, I guess. So, like Spider-Man, Squirrel Girl spends her superhero time fighting crime. Unlike Spider-Man, she doesn't just use her physical capabilities. Here's an example. We have another bank robbery in progress, this one by a villain called Hippo, the human hippopotamus, who first appeared in Dark Reign, the Sinister Spider-Man in 2009. Right there. So far, pretty similar to the Shocker bank heist in that old issue of Spider-Man. Not much has changed in the 40-some years that had passed in between these two issues. Squirrel Girl and her friends managed to defeat him with the usual fisticuffs and quips you would expect from a comic book. How do you stop a hippo that's charging? You take away his credit cards. And then, once the immediate threat is over, Squirrel Girl talks to him. She learns his story. He was once a hippo in a local zoo when a mad scientist turned him into a sentient half-hippo, half-human, and then set him free to fend for himself. As if trying to afford rent in New York City wasn't bad enough, he also has to eat 90 pounds of food a day, and not a whole lot of folks were interested in hiring a giant half-human hippopotamus. So how else was he supposed to support himself? And Squirrel Girl listens. And she says that, honestly, in his position, she might have tried the same thing. And he says, nobody like you has ever listened to me before. And that seems like a pretty powerful affirmation. They part ways as Squirrel Girl gives him some leads on finding jobs in construction and demolition, two careers he had never considered before, education and a chance at rehabilitation. Those are two things that Spider-Man was not offering in the 1960s. Now, another example, this one a bigger threat, one of the biggest threats, in fact, both literally and figuratively in the Marvel Universe, is Galactus. He's basically a living Death Star, big enough to eat entire planets. And again, Squirrel Girl is able to find a peaceful solution to this threat, figuring that he just needed to find another way to satisfy his eternal hunger. And after the confrontation, and that's them on the moon, hanging out, looking at Earth, after that confrontation, Squirrel Girl admits to her squirrel sidekick, Tippy Toe, that it wasn't that hard to find common ground with Galactus. She says, the secret's to remember that no one sees themselves as the bad guy. We're all the heroes of our own story. So have you ever been out in public, somewhere that has a lot of people? Maybe you're driving in rush hour, maybe you're at a baseball game, maybe at a comic book convention, and you look at this huge crowd of humanity that you're a part of. Have you ever thought in those moments about the vastness of our collected stories all in one place? Every single person on this planet has lived a life, every second of it. And when the service ends and you go home, everyone's lives keep happening. They'll make their way home, maybe grab some food on the way, and they'll live an entire week before the next time you see them, maybe Sunday at church. They've lived an entire life in that week, just like you. And if we keep that feeling in mind, how could we not recognize the inherent worth and dignity of our fellow human beings? So what about the real monsters out there, though, the ones that go out of their way to hurt others? What about a supervillain like Dr. Doom? He first appeared in Fantastic Four number 5 in 1962, and he has been a grandiose, monologuing villain ever since. Now, in this particular issue of Squirrel Girl, she has to fight and defeat him. Now, she does something very important before she goes to confront him, and that is making sure any innocent bystanders are out of the way before any kind of confrontation starts. And anytime we discuss how do we deal with crime or how do we deal with people causing violence, we first have to see to the safety and security of any victims. True repentance and rehabilitation cannot begin until the victim of violence has been made whole. Now, this important task completed, she confronts Doom, and she tries to talk him down at first. She tries to find common ground like she has with so many other so-called supervillains so many times before, but it doesn't really work this time. Doom proclaims that compromise is for the weak, that it is only for one who cannot will what they want into existence. Like I said, he was a grandiose, monologuing supervillain. And Doom says that he shall conquer this planet, for Doom conquers all. Now, for other superheroes, this would be the end of that conversation. But for Squirrel Girl, it's just the beginning. She tells him that she has some bad news for him. You put on a good show, talking like a monster, acting monstrous, dressing up as scary as you can. But I've got some bad news for you. I don't believe in monsters. Beneath that cold metal mask, you're still human. Human like me. And I don't believe humans stop being human, even when they pretend they're monsters. I believe you'll listen to reason. Now, this exchange that we just saw, that's the reason for this particular sermon. I'd written this a bit before the events of last Friday. But I don't believe humans stop being humans even when they pretend to be monsters. So as a UU, why is it so important for me to not believe in monsters? Because if monsters existed, they would have no choice but to act how they act. We do not condemn a spider who traps a fly, or a lion who hunts its prey, or a vulture that feeds on the dead. What would be the point? That's what they do. But as humans, we can and do make our own decisions. Now, these decisions are obviously influenced by our past. They can be limited by our present circumstances. And even once we've made that decision, we'll have no idea how it's truly going to affect the future until we're there. But we do make our own decisions. And we are responsible for our own decisions. Now, thinking of other people as monsters lets them off the hook. Easy way out, right? But thinking of other people as monsters also gives us that same easy way out. We can never expect a monster to be anything but what it is. We can hold people responsible for their actions. They can be made to pay restitution to those they harm. They can be made to confront the consequences of their actions. And if needed, they can be separated from those they would harm in the future until they are no longer a threat. And as I said before, the protection and healing of victims are much more important than and must be done before the rehabilitation of those causing the harm. But we still must deal with those humans who commit violence, whether that violence is physical, mental, emotional, or political. How we deal with these monsters is another one of our choices, one that we must make individually and one that we must make as a society. If we see these perpetrators of violence as only monsters, then why not lock the door and throw away the key? Why not get rid of them permanently? It is much harder to do the work of calling them back into covenant or back into the broader social contract. To say, I believe you're human. I don't believe you stop being a human even when you're pretending to be a monster. And I believe you'll listen to reason. Once we have seen to the safety and recovery of the victims, how do we handle these so-called monsters, these humans who have caused such hurt? What does rehabilitation look like? Certainly not U.S. prisons, not the ones here in the state of Texas, where even minor offenses can get you stripped of any and all rights for years at a time. As another example, what about Norwegian prisons? These were spotlighted in the news after Norway's largest terrorist attack was carried out in 2011, and the perpetrator was sentenced to preventative detention. He has had and still has private cells. He's given access to television, to the newspaper, even allowed to play video games, though not online. And he is allowed to prepare his own food. He's even given a small degree of privacy. And he may never be released from that prison for the rest of his life. But it is hard to argue that he is not being treated like a monster, but as a person. Now, does he deserve this humane treatment? I couldn't say. I don't know. But maybe that isn't even the right question to ask. Maybe we should ask, what does this humane treatment tell us about Norway as a country, as a democratic institution, that its people choose to treat even its most violent, its most monstrous as people? And what could that say about us if we decided to commit more deeply to our first principle? Now, I've mentioned this a few times today, but I repeat it because I mean it, and it can never be said enough. Our first duty is to those harmed. Now, today, that might mean contacting our elected officials. Today, that might mean donating how we can to existing organizations that are built to help people seeking abortions. Today, that may mean protesting how we can to show our support for basic human rights in this country. And at this church, you can stay in touch with your social justice folks. I know it's your board president, Beth, right now, is the coordinator for that. I believe that's president at oakcliffuu.org. And there's also other organizations in this great state of ours. The Texas UU Justice Ministry has been putting out donation links and protest times for local organizations. Obviously, there are nationwide organizations like Planned Parenthood that will be good sources of information and opportunities going forward. But when we speak of those doing the harm, let us not let them off easy by calling them monsters. Let us not let ourselves off easy either. It isn't easy to respect the inherent worth and dignity of every person. It isn't easy. And maybe it isn't supposed to be. It isn't easy, but it is worth it. Thank you for welcoming me into your sanctuary today.
When our heart is in a holy place, our heart is in a holy place. We are blessed with love and amazing grace. Our heart is in a holy place. When we trust the wisdom in each of us, every color, every creed and kind, and we see our faces in each other's eyes, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, our heart is in a holy place. are blessed with love and amazing grace when our heart is in a holy place. When we tell our story from deep inside and we listen with a loving mind, and we hear our voices in each other's words, then our heart is in a holy place. When our heart is in a holy place, our heart is in a holy place. We are blessed with love and amazing grace when our heart is in a holy place. When we share the silence of sacred space and the God of our heart stirs within, and we feel the power of each other's flame, then our heart is in a holy place. Then our heart is in a holy place.
Our affirmation to widening our circle of concern, if you'll join me. We, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Oak Cliff, commit ourselves to the study and dismantling of racism and oppression within our congregation. We commit our congregation and ourselves to the work of anti-racism and anti-oppression. We commit ourselves to listening, to learning, and to action. When we fail, we commit ourselves to trying again and again. We covenant to begin this work and to continue until all of us can truly say that we are a beloved community of justice, equity, and compassion. And now let there be an offering to sustain and strengthen this place that is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. To make an offering of cash to apply to your pledge, please put it in an envelope with your name on it. If you are online, you may make an offering at oakcliffuu.org/donate and follow the links there, or you may text it to 214-225-5996.
Receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. De tio recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy. Receive, to you I give, together we share, and from this we live. De tio recibo, a ti te doy, así compartimos y vivimos hoy.
As you prepare to leave this sacred space, by Andrew Pakala. As you prepare to leave this sacred space, Pack away a piece of this church in your heart. Wrap it carefully like a precious gem. Carry it with you through the joys and sorrows of your day. Let its gentle glow strengthen you, warm you, remind you of all that is good and true, until you gather here again in this place of love.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Extinguimos esta llama, pero no la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los llevamos en el corazón hasta que estemos juntos otra vez.
We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing till the world can hear the song, till the world can sing along. We will not stop marching. We will not stop marching. We will not stop marching till the world can hear the song, till the world can sing along. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along.
We will not stop praying. We will not stop praying. We will not stop praying till we all can get along, till the world can sing our song. We will not stop shouting. We will not stop shouting. We will not stop shouting, shouting right from wrong, till the world can sing our song. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along. We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing till the world can hear our song, till the world can sing along.
We do have to learn that. Amen. I'm with you on that. Because we will not singing, praying, sharing, shouting till the world can sing our song. I am up here to offer you some words as we leave. And in light of the decisions that were made this past week, not only was Roe impacted, but there was also a decision made that if one is incarcerated and learns that they actually were not the person who committed the crime, they do not have to be released until it is expedient. The third Supreme Court decision that was made was around guns. For whatever reason, most people don't know the decision about expediency was hemmed in with those other two horrific decisions. We are living in a time where, as our speaker so eloquently pointed out, we are going to have to not allow the default to be that these folk are monsters, but instead find a way to see them as humans and hold them accountable as such. I have a list of opportunities that we can engage as a congregation and as a community as it relates to Roe. I'm going to share those so that the folk online and the folk who get to experience this recording via YouTube can have them as well. The first is, for those of us who live in the area, find a fund, an abortion fund that you can support. There are a number of organizations also that are doing reproductive justice work, which also includes the work of dealing with the challenges that people experience who need that kind of care. And also people who are experiencing maternal mortality, because what we know to be true is if one has a procedure that they have to take care of on their own, they are more likely, when they get ready to parent, have trouble and are at risk of dying as a result of the choices that they had to make regarding their abortion. There are two organizations locally, the AFIA Center and T-Fund. They are both in the area. They can always use volunteers to answer the phones, to help with clients, to refer people to services for food, for clothing, for bus passes. All of those things are a part of the work that these two organizations do. So I would encourage you to consider them. Also, the National Network of Abortion Funds. They regularly have opportunities for volunteers, also opportunities for us to donate to support them as they support the organizations all over the U.S. who do this work. And I'm going to give you some personal things that you can do as soon as my phone allows me in. Our opportunity to vote is coming up. November is just around the corner. We will have an opportunity to vote for our governor, our lieutenant governor, our attorney general. While behind this rostrum, I cannot tell you who to vote for. I can encourage you to vote. If you are not a registered voter, I can tell you where to go get information so that you can become a registered voter. It is important that everyone who can vote, vote. Doesn't really matter, in my opinion, who you vote for. We need more people to vote. The last election, we had approximately 6% of registered voters vote. So we need people to vote. If you don't like what's happening in our state, if you don't like what's happening in our world, the primary solution, believe it or not, is voting. Secondly, begin to engage with our young people more. There are young people in your world They need to hear from us. They need to hear how we made it when these rights were not available to us. They need to hear how we kept fighting because they are struggling with that ideal. They need to know that they can live in this world where the rights that we have taken for granted, they now don't have anymore. It's important that they hear from us. Finally, I would ask you to reach out to your local senator. John Cornyn said in the last few days, now that we've overturned Roe, can we come for voting rights? Can we come for contraception and other rights? It's important that we, as best as we are able, remain engaged in the public square. Because they used a 150-year-old precedent to make these decisions. 150 years ago, I was 3/5 of a person, according to this country. My people didn't have voting rights 150 years ago. Women did not have rights 150 years ago. Gay folks were literally killed 150 years ago. They were in hiding, married and hiding 150 years ago. Women couldn't have bank accounts, own property 150 years ago. If they continue to use 150-year-old precedents, most of the people in this room will have to make some changes in how they move and exist in the earth. We can't have that. I don't have a son. I have daughters. That means my nephew, who just learned how to take care of his own family, will have to make decisions for us. I can't have that. So join me. Find a way to be engaged. Find a way to be engaged. Find a way to live into your humanity. Don't let them take that. My words as we leave again is I ask you to stand. I am so grateful for the visitors that we have today. I am going to ask the members to please make your way to a visitor to thank them for their presence with us. And find someone that you don't know and say something to them that will bless them, that will make them smile as they engage with their week. Thank you.